Hey, how's it going? So, welcome to Thinking Out Loud Live, where we kind of just discuss our thoughts on our experiences with entrepreneurship and mental health and stuff like that. Today, we kind of deal more with the Start Day One, which is a nonprofit organization for mental health and suicide prevention. Basically, what we do with that, the mission is to help change people's perspective from dreaming of one day to starting day one. We kind of have a more proactive approach in dealing with mental health instead of being a reactive and waiting for people to get mental issues. So we try to prevent that by basically educating people beforehand. And hopefully by changing their perspective, they don't end up getting into, having bad mental issues like anxiety, depression, and obviously suicidal tendencies. So today we're actually going to talk about the mental benefits of health benefits of nature. Everyone's in a quarantine lifestyle right now, which is really bad because one of the biggest catalysts of like suicidal tendencies and depression is actually loneliness. So everyone's apart. So we're going to try and tell you just different things that you can actually do that'll help you just enhance your mindset a little bit better, your mental wellness overall, because people are going through stress. People are losing their jobs, their income, things like that, anxiety because they don't know what the future holds. And people are getting depressed because this whole situation is getting amplified, with your feelings and stuff. And obviously it's scary for the ones that are already in suicidal tendencies. So hopefully people are sharing this video that'll kind of help prevent that. We actually invited a guest. She's a huge advocate of, being outdoors and enjoying this. And, people are always posting about staying home, but really just stay away from each other. So we need to take advantage of, take advantage of being outside and not taking, the opportunities for that for granted, because it can actually help with your mental well-being. So I would like to welcome our guest here, Felicity Feline.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on? How's it going?
Not much. It's actually finally a sunny day here, so I'm
finally.
Well, it's finally sunny here, but it's still like freezing cold. Like we've got the fireplace on and it's cold here and windy and
yeah. So I guess tell us a little bit about yourself, about, kind of like, I guess your routine, why you advocated so much being outside and really trying to get out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I work in various industries, entertainment, music, nutrition, and a big thing for me in like centering myself is spending time outdoors because, I know the benefits, and it's also how I grew up. Fortunately, like my parents were very much advocates of the outdoors and nature, and my grandpa was a forest ranger, and so we were always doing nature walks as family, taking hikes together, going to trips to basically spend time in nature. And so even as a kid, I just recognized like the benefits, and I would feel so free and happy just being outdoors and away from society, because it kind of just made me focus on what was going on in the present moment and just appreciating what was around me. And, the physical benefits too, maybe I didn't realize like at the time as a kid, but they have a significant impact just like on the actual body and your mind. And so it's always been a coping mechanism for me as far as dealing with stress. And, if I didn't have nature and the access to outdoors, like I would go stir crazy, and
but how much has your lifestyle changed already ever since the quarantine and all that stuff?
So I mean, fortunately, I can work a lot from home, and I am, lucky in that way that it hasn't affected me like financially or like job wise as much as other people. So I'm fortunate for that. But as far as, there's just like this overall depressing vibe that's just everywhere, because you know, like how so many people are struggling, and it's affecting people's livelihood and their relationships. And so I can feel that, like you feel that energy. And then like also you're not able to connect with people in person the same way. You know, we're not gathering together and hanging out and having times with friends. And so it's definitely like created a more sense of like loneliness, I think, for everyone. Yeah. That's on top of like technology already kind of isolates us, you know, just and so now you throw in this and like we can't even physically see each other, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that's why we kind of want to discuss this, because what is still available is nature. Because we can't be together. Like, we're very social beings, right? We're supposed to be interacting. And that, you know, that's why loneliness, I think, is so detrimental to our health, our mental health, especially. But people don't realize that loneliness actually affects your physical health. And, you know, it really translates down. And because we're going into that, one of the things I mentioned before, so there's this doctor, Dr. Lisa Rankin, and she's the author of Mind Over Medicine. And she says that our body is a self-healing organism. We actually have we're actually equipped with like natural self-repair mechanisms that allows our bodies to heal itself. And our bodies run on our nervous system, right? Which has two operating systems. And the first one is the sympathetic nervous system, which actually produces the stress responses. People know it as the fight or flight response, right? So whenever you're stressing out, this and that, basically makes your body think like, yo, there's a tiger on you. Your stress response kind of produces cortisol to basically help you out with that, right? The problem is our bodies don't know the difference, whether there's a tiger or you're scared because you're going to be late for work. Like, it actually doesn't know how to differentiate.
Right.
So it always produces cortisol. And supposedly we produce this 50 times a day. And there's the other side of it, right? The parasympathetic nervous system that actually produces the relaxation response. That's like when you're just more relaxed and you're in like your balanced state, I guess. And what's funny is the only time your body actually heals itself is only when you're in relaxation response.
Yep.
That's it. So when you're stressing and you're looking at the news and you're bugging out about life and you're getting anxious and anxiety about your income and what are we going to do, and then getting depressed and then have the kids and going nuts. So you're in constant stress response. So your body is actually not healing itself. And that's why with this, we really want to provoke people, because they don't realize just being outside or even looking at a screen of nature actually helps your mental wellness.
Yeah.
So we kind of want to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So exactly what you just mentioned. That's like perfect segue to the next thing I kind of wanted to say, because a big thing what people don't realize, and as a kid, you know, I didn't know like the scientific basis about what was going on. But like, you know, as a kid, I was always so happy and calm and peaceful because I spent so much time outdoors. Like, I felt very balanced and centered. And I think as far as people don't realize that, like, the earth produces its own magnetic frequency, you know, I think it's like 7.83 hertz or something. And that electric magnetic field, like, literally has a physical effect on our bodies. Like, it produces like an electric influence on our brain and our muscles, and it like stimulates us in this way, you know, like, and nature runs off of that, you know, and all of our Wi-Fi and like the electric magnetic fields, like the EMFs, has a negative effect like on the natural electricity that's going through our brain. So like, when you ground yourself and get outside, I mean, grounding specifically, like being barefoot, you know, outdoors, has like the most direct effect on your body, even outside for like 30 minutes, you know. But people don't realize, like, when you're surrounded by nature and just like that natural electric magnetic field, it like kind of brings your body like back into balance and into the parasympathetic nature nervous system that you were like talking about. And it helps balance hormones, helps like the circadian rhythms get back into its normal function, and people sleep better. Like, there's so many benefits to it. And like, that's why I notice when, you know, if like I don't if I can't get outdoors for a few days or a week, like say I'm traveling a lot, I can manage just because like I'm very adaptable and like I could manage stress pretty well at this point in my life, change, but I'm just not as centered as I usually am. Whereas, when I can get outside and like spend outdoors. And so I think like taking that whole aspect and like putting it towards this situation, like it's so beneficial for people to get outside during these times of loneliness, because like if we can't necessarily be connected to each other physically, then like spending time in nature naturally makes us feel connected to the earth and will make us more calm, and
it makes you actually more connected to yourself. And like you said, it kind of grounds you. They always say like to be outside barefoot, try to walk barefoot on the grass,
and supposedly like studies, it says like even just having like 30 minutes of a daily routine just once or twice a week, actually, it actually shows to improve your mental and physical health. Just 30 minutes. Twice a week. Like,
I mean,
insane.
And like, if you think just like how the world is, like people are like the physical barrier that like a sneaker has with your foot, it's like, it's preventing you from like completely connecting to the earth, and like that's how people are, I think, with each other. Like our jobs and like all these societal norms like are preventing us
definitely
from being like our true selves, like we always have these shells on, and like that essentially like doesn't happen like when you ground, because like you're fully connected to the earth, you're using like your foot as it should be. And there was a period of time too where I was like into massage, and I thought about possibly becoming a massage therapist. I didn't go down that route, but like I was super into like the idea of reflexology, right? Also like an acupuncture where there's the places in your body like they have the effect directly on different organs. And anyway, when you're grounding, it's like natural reflexology, because like you're allowing your foot to just come in contact with the earth and like these pressure points, and it's like releasing this energy that's stored up in your foot, and it's like actually helping to like balance all the systems in your body. So I thought that was fascinating too, and
I just read too, like it actually absorbs some kind of like micro, bacteria or something that actually helps your immune system and all that stuff too, which is kind of crazy, because how many times do people take off their shoes to go outside, especially when you're urban, so
no, totally. And in like Eastern medicine too, there's a lot of physicians and practitioners that like believe that you detox a lot through your feet naturally, and so when you're walking barefoot, you're basically like releasing a lot of like these neurotoxins that are like stored up in your body. So, because I notice it like when I am outside hiking and all that, I'm not barefoot that much, but like I try to take time, like when the soil is soft and, I'm not going to be like stepping on really sharp rocks and whatnot. I try to walk barefoot.
Cortisol goes up.
Or like, people like when they go to the beach, right, and they walk barefoot, they always like, people always are like, oh, this feels so good. It feels so good walking barefoot on the sand. Like that's why it's like that whole saying, like, oh, I want to walk barefoot in my,
put some sand between those toes.
I'm always barefoot. Like every time I go outside, when I leave the house, go to the mailbox or whatever, I'm barefoot always. Like I hate, unless it's cold or raining, like I don't want to have shoes on my feet. I'm a barefoot baby.
Back in the day, it's like it was rare that I had shoes on.
Oh, forget it. Back in the day when I was a kid.
So, and it's funny because like just being out in nature, and we're talking about grounding and how helpful
that's something so simple too.
Right.
Just walk outside barefoot, people.
Yeah. And what's crazy is how helpful it is just going out in nature, just going and being around nature. Even people in urban cities and stuff, just having a patch of lawn, going to the park, things like that, it actually helps with the grounding and everything. And studies show that the cortisol levels are actually reduced just by being around freaking nature, which is crazy because I know damn well not a lot of people are taking advantage, because I don't see them walking around. Like, I don't really see a lot of people walking around. Right? When you travel around?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's forcing, this whole situation is forcing people to kind of like look at their situation and be like, well, wow, I have all this free time. And like a lot of them are using it as an excuse to just be lazy and to like just sit inside all day, which is like, okay, like that's fine if you want to spend more time inside. And, I'm not like bagging on anyone that wants to like spend more time on the computer. Like I know I've certainly been doing projects more like on my computer than I haven't had before because I have more time, but at the same time, I make it like a significant point every day to get outside, and to, I can't go hiking like for some reason because I'm too busy, then I'm walking to the park and back for at least a few miles. And, having my dog is also like an excuse because when he's physically exhausted from exercise, then he's good. And, I don't want him wound up and all energetic in the house. And I'm the same way. Like if I don't have like access to, physically being engaged in something, I get like wound up and
you turn into a husky,
I mean,
too much energy
person.
Right.
So I was never into the gym. Like I like being outside because it's just, I feel so much more.
Well, one quick question. So, you're already all about outdoors and stuff, but pre-quarantine, there still weren't really that many people going outside, right? And the excuse was, I just don't have any time. I got to work. And well, it seems to me like everyone's got a lot of time right now. But what do you think is still preventing them from taking advantage of outdoors?
I think a lot of it's routine because like some people don't, it's like, okay, it's like creating a good habit, right? Like when you notice, okay, wow, I do this every day and it has a benefit. Like I notice the differences. Some people I think aren't aware that spending more time outside actually has a significant positive benefit on their life, but they're not used to doing it. So it's like, you're not going to put in the time to do it. Cause like, I mean, especially nowadays, like everyone's so consumed with like all this crap going on and like they're busy and to them, like, time is valuable. And so for you to add something to your schedule every day, it's like, oh, this is a big commitment. I don't know if I could do this, but it's more about like changing perspective, I mean, cause like when I walk, sometimes I multitask, like, I'm not always like, oh, just like walking around. Like I'm sometimes, working while I'm walking or
you're on a podcast or something.
I'm like, or, I'm always with my dog. So it's like, I try to use the time efficiently. Like if someone doesn't have that much time to fully commit into just like hands off, not, I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose if you're like in the woods and you're on your phone the whole time.
Yeah, you're not quite disconnected.
Yeah, right.
You're not quite disconnected.
You didn't exactly, embrace nature there.
Yeah,
you're right. Actually, we should probably mention that.
Because you're bringing in all that good energy that you said, and then you've got your cell phone in your hand, and that's putting all the negative back in. So you're kind of negating the whole purpose of what you're trying to do.
That's true.
Yeah. And I mean, so that brings me to the point too, like as far as, if I go hiking with someone or friends or just one person or even alone, I sometimes, most of the time I do like to listen to like podcasts or music when I'm hiking. But it's in my backpack or like I put it on airplane mode. And like, so I'm not focusing at all on my phone. Like I just want, to use the time to like, oh, I can listen to some podcasts. But I'm fully engaged like with what's going around me, when I go hiking with friends or something, like it's the same thing. Like they're all, we're all talking and just in the present moment and no one's really on their phone, like unless you want to take a picture or something, but having that, it's like a healthy way to escape reality, but like you are in reality, like nature is like the pure form of reality, it's really humbling too, like because you kind of forget like, wow, at the end of the day, like I'm just another organism like in this world, like just like
it's kind of like actually what this shirt says, right? Take nothing for granted. That's kind of why I put like this tree on there, because I just imagine myself like laying down and just like, when you look up at a tree or something and you're just kind of taking everything in, and what's funny, meditation is a huge way to like, enhance your mental health, your wellness or whatever. one of the hardest things people, it's hard. Actually, for her, it's hard to meditate.
I can't.
Yeah, for me too. It is for me too.
Yeah. So you guys are like squirrels. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah. There's always something. I'm like, what? Where? What? I can't.
So what's funny is with nature, every time, right? When you go out to nature, you see the ocean, the mountains, and you just sit there and then look. It puts you in that present state. That's one of the fastest ways of like getting into that meditative state is really being in the present, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of thinking about the future, thinking about the past. That's what fucks you up and you can't concentrate. So it's like, oh, slow down. And when you're in nature, it actually helps you to kind of go, this is happening right now. Like, so the air you breathe, the things you see, the things that you feel, things like that, all of a sudden puts you in the present tense. And then that kind of helps you in that whole relaxation response,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, because, similar to Kristen, like I have I'm naturally high energy. Like actually, when you were talking about stress hormones, like I've gotten my hormones tested because my adrenaline and cortisol are naturally pretty high. So, and I noticed like I barely ever drink caffeine because like specifically for that reason, because caffeine raises cortisol. And I noticed like when I have too much caffeine, I'm like on edge. Like I'm like, unless I'm fully engaged and I'm like playing drums or I'm like running or something, like it's hard for me to not start to feel anxious.
Yeah.
And so, I need outlets to ground me. Like because I'm a very high energy person. Like I'm laid back too, but like I think it's because like I do a lot of things that naturally like get my energy out. And so with hiking, or spending a lot of time outside, I'm kind of getting like best of both worlds because I'm working out because like that's how I work out. Like I don't go to the gym and like I like to just hike and do free weights and stuff at home, but like so I'm doing that, but then I'm also surrounding myself with nature that's just allowing me to like come back to my center. To me, like it's the most gratifying thing, and I get to spend time with my dog, so all of those together, like that's what I try to promote to people sometimes. It's like, if you like to go to the gym, that's great. Like I completely understand why people want to do that. But then also like, maybe switch it up sometimes and like spend some time hiking or taking a walk and being outside. And
definitely. Yeah. Do yoga or something.
And so one of the things that I'm, huge, I always push this is it's all about perspective, right? We got to change people's perspective and all that stuff. And everything that we're saying to our audience or anyone that watches this, all this is fucking bullshit until you make a decision to do it.
Yeah.
Like, literally. So that's cute that you know about cortisol now and you know how grounding works and this and that. But until you actually make a decision to do it, it's not going to do anything. So right now, what I want to do is actually, let's talk about the things that can actually help people's perspectives and change that. Because I wonder what their perspective is like right now. What do you think like they're thinking right now? Why they're not going outside?
People in general, why people aren't going outside?
Yeah, like why aren't they taking advantage of this? They have so much time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people aren't going outside like right this minute, like right now, or because they are stuck homeschooling their kids, or some people are actually working from home. But when school is over and the kids did their homework and you're done with all that, get them outside.
Yeah.
Like when I don't see why there's any. I mean, it's been crappy out in New Jersey for the past several days, but it's a beautiful sunny day. It's a little cool out, but you know what? You can get outside for a half hour and throw a ball with your kids or take them for a bike ride around the block, something. There's really no excuse not to, because where do you got to go? You don't have to be anywhere. I know you might want to cook dinner or get the laundry done or whatever, but it's not going to go. Nothing's going to change that if you wait a half hour to do it.
What drives me even more nuts are the people that are complete. Right. They're all just excuses. And what they're really doing is just like, they're even amplifying the negativity that they're experiencing, right? Oh, I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. Yeah, you can. Like, you can totally step outside, but you don't. I don't know why, but they just try to make up all the excuses. It's kind of like not going to the gym. There's not enough time. Even when you have enough time now, right? But now it's like, oh, it's
well, now I
out.
can't go to the gym. So you know what? Do some sit-ups at home.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's funny is their perspective on this whole situation, you know, when it changes, and that's why I'm a big push of like supply and demand, right? Once you take away all this time, guess what they're gonna like yearn for?
Time.
The time to be able to just take a walk and do this and do that.
Sit on the couch and watch a movie.
As soon as the quarantine ends, people are just gonna just burst and go out there. And then let's say people start going back to jobs and things like that, back to their old routine. Now they're gonna go, man, I didn't take advantage of my time. And that's what I feel people are doing right now. Let's say in 3 months, I just want to ask people that are watching this, like, what changes are you expecting?
Yep.
Because I've realized people are fucking insane where they complain about things they do nothing about. Absolutely nothing.
No.
I know. It's what you, when we were talking the other day and you said that, you know, people, they make excuses because they don't want to deal with accountability, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what you said. And it resonated with me because that, you know, I don't know, maybe it's part of it's my upbringing and having, you know, parents that were very adamant about getting things done and like taking responsibility for your actions and things like
that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I'm always like, okay, if there's an issue going on, I'm going to resolve it. Like, I want to fix it. I can't just let it sit. I can't just let it linger.
That's this one over here.
That's me. She
can't handle it.
Nope.
She's on.
Like, it's like, okay, like let's do it. Let's do something about it. You know,
let's fix it, figure it out. Let's handle this.
Yeah, like certain things take time. I get that, but like, you know, it's about discipline and like adopting habits that are going to like, fix these issues.
And speaking of habits, you know, people are going to look at this and watch our quick clip here and then go like, oh, grounding and this and that. They'll do it once and go, that didn't work.
Yeah.
It's not a one-time thing. Like it's a continuous thing.
It's just
like diet and exercise, trying to lose weight. It doesn't happen like you go to the gym once and you eat well for a day. You didn't lose 10 pounds. It's a thing. It's gotta be continuous.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, it has to be habitual that you're taking advantage of the outdoors. Like you're constantly outside hiking and doing your thing, you know? So it's become almost a habit for you that it's actually, you feel like shit when you don't.
Exactly. And it's just from, you know, for me, I never want exercise to feel like a chore. You know what I mean? I want it to be, it's not a burden to me. Like, it's like, oh, this is my time to like release this energy. You know what I mean? And like, and to center myself. And like, what better to do that than to be outside, like hiking, you know, because, you know, like a big reason for me with the gym is like, I like the idea of training muscles and certain parts of your body. Like, I totally understand why people do that. But like the environment to me was always so artificial, like, you know, and just having all these people like, you know, check each other out. It's like a watering hole. Like that's how these people just kind of gather together to like compare each other. And a lot of times, especially, you know, living in LA, people are there to like check each other out, and it's not
meat market.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, but like I never liked that environment because it's kind of like I just want to like use this time to focus on me and like get my energy out. And you know, I'm in the woods, no one's judging me, no one's looking at me, like, you know, unless I run into someone, but like it's like a peaceful time to just energize myself. And then, you know, it's like something I genuinely enjoy. And so it doesn't feel like a burden at all to like, it's more of like an opportunity, like an excitement to go explore. And, you know, when I have like more time in a day than say I have only 2 hours or something, I'm like, okay, I can go here. I know exactly how long it's going to take me. But when I have more time, I have like an app called All Trails, and you can just look up all hiking spots. Like it's like a map everywhere near you, and it's free. And like, it's fun for me because I like read the reviews and I'm like, oh, this spot looks so cool. I'm going to go check this out. And like, it becomes like this exciting adventure every time I go because you never know what you're going to see. You know, you're almost like bringing yourself back to like its natural state. Cause I mean, if you look back in the days, like with cavemen and people, they were so adaptable because they had to be like, they were living outside. They were, you know, dealing with the environment every day. And like now we've all become like so safe and comfortable, like living in our houses and driving in our cars everywhere. And like, you know, we forget like what it's like to be a real human. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
When I spend time like outdoors and hiking, I'm like challenging my body in a way to like adapt. And I love that, because like I want to be as adaptable as I can, you know?
Well, that makes sense. And it's good because see, your perspective easily, see, that's why I always tell people, it's all about your perspective. When your perspective is one way, everything else will follow that. And like you said before, one thing that stuck out was like, you don't see going out as a burden.
Yeah.
Right? People look at it as a chore, a burden. It's kind of like you actually do it on purpose so that exercise is not a burden.
Yep.
You know? So,
because I mean, I don't know. For me, it seems the most least stressful thing I could do, you know, because it just like I'm in a non-judgmental environment. You know, I get to appreciate the earth, and it just like the benefits totally in my mind outweigh any negatives like that. I have to drive there. Like, okay, you got to drive to the gym. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's just a matter of like training people to kind of try, like, gets out of their comfort zone and like get outside of their box a little bit. Because another thing too is, and this is kind of funny, like when we were talking about when, say, like I'm hiking with a friend, because like you're sort of outside your comfort zone. I think it's like this commitment that you have to do. Like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna be like hiking with this person for over an hour. What am I gonna talk about? Like, I can't really like go on my phone, you know? Like it becomes this like people are afraid to be in this like raw environment.
No scoop.
They don't know how to interact.
Yeah, and like that's
they're forgetting how to interact, like you said.
Exactly.
This is the interaction. Their phone.
Yeah. How do I do an emoji? Do I go, you know, you know, offline emoji? You know what I mean?
And like I find that like almost a little disturbing, because like people they forget what it's like to be like in their natural state, like without having something to like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like I think it's almost funny for me to like, if I'm hanging out with someone and like I'm like, hey, let's go for a hike, and I watch their reaction like, well, how long is it? Or like you know, like, well, okay. I mean, like it's almost like they're so hesitant because it's like this commitment that's so outside of what they usually do.
Comfort zone,
you know, I mean,
that's true. I mean, but those are the things. So like, you know, what other things do you think you would recommend that would change their perspective on the whole just being outside, you know, because obviously no one's going outside. And I know this whole stay home thing, and I get it, it's for a safety kind of thing, but all they're trying to do is stay away from each other. You know, like, it's not stay home and you're locked in. People are acting like they're like locked in. I mean, that they can't go outside as if the air they breathe is going to kill them. And it kills me because it's like, you guys are all pent up because you're not going outside. Right. Like we said before, it's like keeping a dog in a cage. It's like, well, what do you think is going to happen to that dog?
I know. No, exactly. I mean, they're acting like they're in prison when we're only just practicing social distancing, you know? And I feel like being outside is kind of irrelevant. If anything, it's healthier for you to like get outside and get fresh air and like the physical benefits. Like even we didn't even touch on like the vitamin D.
Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, literally, like people are
that.
I mean, like, I mean, that's just like, but that's a really,
or even just the physical exercise. We're just talking about being in nature, and it already helps you. And I guess that's like what we're trying to do, is like trying to give them the least amount of effort. It's like, what I'm saying is just being out in nature by stepping on grass, take your shoes off when it's warm, looking at the sky, being around trees. Just that alone, not walking 5 miles, not doing push-ups outside. What I'm saying is being in it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
Like I think just like taking time to just, okay, like I'm going to look at my schedule today. is there something that I can do, where I could walk there instead of driving, or, changing the mind to think like alternative ways just to kind of spend some time outdoors.
Right.
Okay.
What can I postpone and do later? So I can go outside right now because it's beautiful and it's sunny and it's warm.
Right.
Exactly. Like it should be a priority to get some time outside.
Yeah. People need to, like you said, they need to change their mindset to that. They need to make it a priority.
And that's what we're doing, right? With Start Day One. So we're trying to just change people's perspective. And, if someone out there is looking at this and they're in a depressive mode or whatever, it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing about it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not going to change itself. Like, it's all internal. You have to do something. You have to change something for anything to change. Yep. So you're trying to go like, oh, nothing's changing. Well, because you haven't changed shit.
Exactly.
We're already telling you one thing. If you don't do this, that's weird, because that means you're trying to stay in depressing mode.
Yeah.
So
people
haven't made that decision to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's like people, they become comfortable in their misery.
And it's
there are people like that.
Very easy to get in there. Right?
And then, like, they try to drag other people into it because they don't want to either take the commitment to change, or they're afraid of change. And like, what they don't realize is, like, if they just start taking steps to better themselves, they will improve the quality of their life. Like it's not rocket science. Like, it's just a matter of like, okay, I'm dealing with this. I have to change how I feel. Am I going to put the time and commitment into changing? And half the time it's really not even that difficult, but like, they just don't want to deal with it,
kind of what you mentioned. It starts with a decision. Everything will follow.
Yeah.
Once you decide, like, you know what, I will go out to take a walk twice a week. Once you make that decision, you go out for a walk twice a week. And to help people that are like, people that have a hard time changing. So it's funny. We have, I told you about Start Day One's theme color is teal, right? So it stands for time, effort, attention, and love. Everyone needs that for just mental issues, to prevent mental issues, right? So that's something you have to give to yourself also.
Yep.
So when you're trying to change something, I recommend start with time. What I mean is, when I'm telling you, like, go for a freaking walk, go outside. So some people, they're like, oh, dude, I have to do this, get ready, car, do this, if they're not around it, right? So to me, I'm like, you have to just put in time. Just say 15 minutes.
Yep.
20 minutes, 30 minutes. Just put a time in, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't care how far you walk, where you go, just put in 30 minutes. Go into nature, see what it does, and then come right back. Just keep putting in time. No effort, zero. Once you start putting in more time, then you go like, I wonder how fast I can walk this block. Now you put in the effort. First, you just put in the time, 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start going like, I wonder what else I can do within the 15 minutes, because I'm going to go back inside soon. And so you actually start with that. So anyone that's willing to change, whether it's exercising, people get overwhelmed with losing weight because they're like, oh man, I have to lose 100 pounds. It's like, not today. Not today.
Exactly.
So put in a time first, and then the effort will come later. 30 minutes exercising. I'm not saying a freaking marathon. I'm not saying lift the heaviest weights. What I'm saying is put in 30 minutes, whatever you can do in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Even if it's just a walk around the block. If it takes you a half hour to walk around the block, walk that block.
Right.
Exactly. And
you run out?
I think too, people associate change with like hardship, like, I have to do this, where it's like, look, adopting something new into your life could be like the most amazing thing. Like, you could realize and find out things about yourself that you never knew, and that like make you incredibly happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you might love all those things you find.
And it's funny that you're mentioning that. It's good that you're mentioning that, because that's kind of one of the benefits of being out in nature. You kind of do that self-reflection mode when you're out there, because no one's distracting you. No one's there's just no less distraction, less negative thoughts. You're just you. And that's when you can really make internal changes, because all the changes has to come from inside you.
Yep.
It's very rare that it's external, unless you win the lottery or whatever, very external. But a lot of the changes you make is internal. So
absolutely. I mean,
at that time, it's a great time to take advantage, especially when, we always see on Facebook, like parents going nuts, with the kids and this and that. They love their kids, but they're just all crazy, but just 30 minutes away. Then recharge, man, take the time.
Well, okay, that's such a good example, because I mean, tying back to my childhood, like sometimes I like to look at like children that spend a lot of time outside versus children that don't. Like there's differences, like significant differences in how they are. And I feel like a lot of kids that have spent time outside, they're very more comfortable with themselves, because like, when you're outside, like you're in, like we were saying, you're in your natural form. Like you're not distracted by all these things. You're not trying to be something you're not. Like you're just there and you're present. And so even like that, fast forward, like when I moved out to LA, and I was going through a lot of like, I was 21, 22, like going through all these crazy internal changes. Me spending so much time outside and like outdoors really allowed me to like understand myself and get through a lot of like inner challenges that I was going through. And, a lot of depression too. Cause like I was going through a lot of hard times and making decisions, and, I didn't have that time for inner reflection where like I wasn't distracted by the outside world that was causing all the stress. I don't know what I would have done. Like that was my coping mechanism. And,
what's crazy is if you didn't do that, your depression would have been amplified.
Yeah. I mean, because it really like it spending it in time in nature too, like it kind of turns off your ego. Because like you kind of like separate yourself, like, and you're like, wow, okay. And like you kind of can take a step back and like look at things in a way.
You don't have to be the alpha dog outside.
Nothing matters to a tree. Like
exactly. Because I mean, in nature, like nature is a harsh reality by itself. Like you look at what's going on around you, and like you kind of just it sort of puts you in your place a little bit, where you're just like, wow, like, okay, I'm only like a really small aspect of this huge world. And
that's another thing too. Like actually what's funny, just being outside, it actually changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When you're out there, it's kind of like when you're when I'm on a plane and flying, and then I look down on the ground, and you're just like, here I am complaining out of all these millions of people. I'm just a little ant. But I feel like the world revolved around me. Like, what am I doing? We're complaining about bills and this and that. And it's just like, dude, you're just a little speck,
Exactly.
It really changes you and just thinking more on a macro to micro, like you just kind of go, whoa, there's more to life.
Yeah. And too, like when people are just, they don't get outside and like explore and look around and like, even, and I'm not even talking about like a crazy hike in the mountains. Like this could just be literally a nice stroll to the
walk. Even in the city. Yeah.
But just like the art of observing like your environment and like seeing what's around you, that takes you away like from everything that's going on in here. And it allows you to focus on like the external in a healthy way. Like, you kind of can look at things in like an objective perspective. Like you're not so focused on yourself. And like, I think too, like kids that spend time outside too, like the same thing happens to them. Like they become like more, it's like a healthier way for them to cope with issues and each other. You know what I mean? And
because when you're always distracted by technology and whatever else, you tend to lose the other skills, the whole reflection thing. They don't know how to just be by themselves. And that's something I kind of touched on, I guess 2 weeks ago. We were kind of talking about the loneliness.
Yeah.
And again, people don't understand. People associate lonely with alone, like being by themselves.
That's what they think. Solitude.
Right. And loneliness is actually very internal, because people can be surrounded by a lot of people and still be lonely. You could be in a rock concert going like this, people everywhere, but you're just like,
lonely.
Lonely. And so it's actually internal. And that's why we're pushing this whole dude, let nature kind of nurture you.
Yeah.
Heal you a little bit.
You know?
Absolutely, because it will. Like it will. I mean, nature heals everything, you know.
Yeah.
If you just allow it to, really, you know. And I mean, it's like what you said, the loneliness too. Loneliness, I feel it too. I mean, for me, because there's been a lot of points in my life where I feel lonely, but it's really a feeling of disconnect. Like where you know, like you said, like I could be in a room with people and I feel so disconnected, and it's
like you don't fit in with what's going on or who's there.
Yeah, and like I feel like, you know, we're not on the same wavelength, and it's saddening because, like, you know, I'll try hard sometimes to connect, but like, you know, sometimes you're just not gonna get on that wavelength with other people, and like for whatever reason. But I mean, when I'm outside and spending time outdoors, like I don't feel that because like I am a part of the wavelength. Like it's just everything is connected, you know, and so it like kind of like reconnects me to myself and like allows me to like cope with my own issues, you know, and understand like where they're coming from. And like, and you know, back to what we were saying before is like with commitment and like just taking the time to get outside, like it could be little things, like, you know, like you said with losing weight, you know, it's not going to happen like overnight. I'm going to go hike Mount Everest, you know, like it can literally just be like, okay, I'm going to allot 30 minutes today to just take a nice walk, or instead of driving to the grocery store, I'm going to walk there. You know, you just like, start to find reasons that you can switch it up. And then over time, like you'll realize like, wow, this isn't actually that bad. Like I'm going to maybe challenge myself a little more. Maybe I'll do like a 2-mile hike, you know, or you know, get other people to like do it with you. So you're not alone, and, you know, you're doing the challenge together. And like, it's just like you ease yourself into it. And like, because I mean, there's plenty of times where I'm like, I don't want to hike like a 5-mile thing today. Like,
you just have to make the decision to start doing.
Exactly.
Start with a walk and then build up to a hike. You've got to make that decision.
Yeah. And so one of the things, right? So the decisions here, a lot of times before you make a decision, it's really your perspective that needs to change. So I always go back to this perspective because just from my experience, it seems to always be the cause every freaking time. That's why I always cure things or remedy things by going to the cause. And one of the things that I've realized, whether it's the gym, work, basically anything, right? They need to change their perspective on what they're trying to accomplish. So goals are so different from purpose. So a lot of people are like, oh, like for example, I want to lose weight, have the goal of 20 pounds or whatever. So when you're very goal oriented, you just kind of want to just reach that goal. But then when you get there, well, did it. And you just kind of shut down and go, all right, back to eating like shit. So when we're talking about going outside and this and that, don't make it a goal of doing it this time. You need to have a sense of purpose. Why do you think you're going outside? Well, it's to get yourself from getting any mental issues, whether it's anxiety, loneliness, this, that. It's really just for your well-being. So you're doing it not because I have a goal of, you know, I want to inhale nice air today for 30 minutes and that's it. Like those are goals are probably good in the beginning, but more for your sense of purpose. So when you don't have that sense of purpose, you'll quit. That's why goals are just a way to measure. That's it, right? It's your internal, you know, idea of success, I guess. If I reach this, then I did it. Like, yeah, that's cute. You lost 50 pounds, but if your purpose is completely something else, it just stops. That's why it's hard for people to quit drinking. I want to be sober. Okay, you're sober because you haven't had a drink in 24 hours. So mission accomplished. So now they're hurting and they're going like, oh man, this is day number 56 of no beer. Day number 123 of no beer. It's like, why are you counting? Like,
I feel like people like use goals sometimes like for like the sort of like the insignificant reasons. Like, I mean, I can get why people want certain goals, but like at the same time, the goal should just be like the incentive to adopt positive change. Because like, okay, like if you want to lose 50 pounds, that's great. But why do you want to lose 50 pounds? It's because you're overweight and you're unhealthy and like you're putting your body at risk. You know what I mean? Like if you keep living some lifestyle, you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that incentive should just be like, I want to make my body healthier, but people like become kind of obsessed with like numbers and this idea like, oh, you know, okay, like it's like if people want to do that as a way to like initiate change, great. At least like you're getting your foot in the door. But then, you know, try to look at it as like by adopting this habit, you know, or changing certain things, I'm just overall going to be a better, healthier person. And I wouldn't even have this problem to begin with, you know what I mean? So it's like just getting outside, like sort of making it a natural part of your routine, but being flexible, like, cause like, you know, I always try to tell people too, like, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. Like you can just like adopt it and just, it's just about like changing your mindset towards it and not looking at it as like such a big deal. Like it can be certain days you put more time into it than others, but like, it's just about like adopting it into your life.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just a quick thought that went in my head. You know, we're talking about being in nature and walking, taking a walk and all that stuff, which is something everyone can do. Right. Yeah. Everyone could totally take advantage of it. There's really no excuses.
And
like
it's free.
They look at it as
and it's free, like she said. And it's free.
But people look at it as such a burden and a move. And you said, like, dude, don't make it such a big deal, because that's what really, it prevents people from making that change. It's kind of like, it's almost like complaining about like, oh man, I got to eat again. Like, you have to do this. So when it becomes a part of your, like, you're supposed to have vitamin D, you're supposed to breathe fresh air, it just kind of becomes part of your lifestyle. But you have to make it your sense of like your mission or your perspective needs to change on what that is, you know? Like one of the things that sometimes I test myself with working out, but we'll relate it more towards just the going out, right? People will say like, oh, I don't really have the time and this and that to go outside or whatever. What if I paid you $1 million at the end of 6 months if you did that?
Yeah.
What if I did? All of a sudden, oh, hold on, I gotta go. You know, I gotta go.
You got time then.
All of a sudden, they've got the time. They got this. Sometimes that's what I tell myself when I'm, you know, in the gym, when I'm especially like running or whatever, something that takes, you know, more effort and time, really, endurance, really. And I always tell myself, I'm like, you know, what if someone paid you $1 million to finish this? Could you do it? You know? So to me, well, my body definitely can. It's just more like I won't. So then it pushes me to do it. Like, yeah, totally, I could do it.
Because you haven't decided to do it.
You know, then I might go into fuck it mode.
Yeah. And like, you know, similarly, like, I guess, you know, for me, the idea, like, because I sometimes struggle with like, you know, being like an entrepreneur and working for myself. Like, you know, I have to struggle sometimes with time management. That's something I've always had a hard time like doing, because every day is different and I always have a bunch of things I want to do. And so
things pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so like I have to kind of really adapt, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, but for me, like, okay, exercise and getting outside, like that is always a priority, because like I know like the benefits are just, they're there. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing where some people are like, I have to go to the gym today. Like, but you know, in my mind, like I never, like I said before, wanted to make fitness like such a, like this fun, like, you know, so I like, cause also like being outside as a kid all the time and playing sports as a kid, you know, I relate physical activity to like fun things, like, you know, that's how I see it. I mentally make a note to not make it a burden, you know, and I'm not saying like every day I'm doing a 4 or 5 mile hike. It's just like, I do that when I can, but like, I just make it an effort to at least like, okay, I'm going to walk to the store today instead of driving, and like, I can get my 2 mile walk in, but like, it's just like that flexibility and like adapting. Once people like get into that zone, they realize like, oh, this is pretty easy to incorporate in my lifestyle. Like it's especially like live in the city or something, like, okay, maybe you can't go to a mountain every week or something, but like you can
find a park. There are parks in every city, lots of them.
Right.
Exactly. Like, you know, maybe like make it a day where like, oh, cool, there's a park here. I'm going to, you know, find a new album that I like and listen to an album and walk to the park. And like, you know, just like changing the perspective to make it not a big deal. Because like it shouldn't be. Like it should just be something you naturally want to do.
Yeah. And all that, was really just going back. It's all about getting yourself into that relaxation response.
Yeah.
You know, like stop. It's that one time that you'll be able to give yourself the time to just not think about the past, future, and anxiety, things that makes you anxious. Because it's the only time your body's going to heal yourself. I mean, this whole COVID-19 is attacking people with low immune system. And the loneliness, the stress response, when you're producing cortisol, that is really what's kind of killing these people because their immune system is just now working for them. And so doing all these things, it's actually helping you just build your immune system. So just having your perspective on that all you're doing is like, you're healing your body. That's why you're going for the walk. You know, that's why you're doing this, because you're doing it for yourself. If you're that scared of COVID-19, well, shit, take a walk. You know,
exactly.
Your mind, your body, everything.
Because it affects your mindset, affects your physiology. Like, I mean, people don't understand to a cellular level. Like, you actually harm yourself by just with the stress response and by dealing with that almost 50 times a day. Like I said, you're supposedly, once you get the stress response, within like 90 seconds after that, you're supposed to get out of it. Like when a lion's chasing you, it's like, boom, boom, run away. Whew, okay, lion's gone. Once the lion's gone, you should be good. But us, we're not born that way, you know? Or we just don't think of it that way.
They say stress will kill you. It literally will kill you.
Loneliness freaking kills you. Loneliness, you know, causes more cancers, high blood pressure, all that stuff. It actually kills you. So that's why we're so adamant with telling people, like, dude, don't stay home, stay away. You know,
stay away, don't stay home.
Yeah, but go outside. You have to, because it's part of your.
It's what your body needs.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Nature. It's natural for you to be outside in nature.
So I don't know if we actually got any questions or anything just for the last few minutes. Anyone have any questions out there that maybe you want to ask or?
Not really. Not too many questions.
All right. Well, if you're not asking questions, I better fucking see you outside.
You better be outside then.
So yeah, I hope that what we've talked about today kind of just changed people's perspective about the outdoors and about staying away rather than staying home, and really just taking advantage of this temporary. I want to stress. Temporary time that you can do this.
Take full advantage of this time.
I don't know how soon it can go back to normal. It may be a year, 2 years, 5 years, but no matter what, like, take advantage of this time instead of wasting it, you know? So
like use the time efficiently too. So like, you know, down the road, you won't regret it. You know, like you'll look back and be like, wow, like remember that time, you know, I got a lot of stuff done during that time, you know, or I did things that I maybe didn't have the time to put the energy into before, but like, you know, let's use this time to like cultivate inner creativity and, you know, transform ourselves, our relationships, you know, and just have like a healthy relationship too with like getting outside and like appreciating nature, you know?
Absolutely.
Right. And if you're really just jonesing for some technology, take it outside.
I mean, like, take the phone and take a walk with you.
Exactly. Take your Kindle, sit on your front lawn in the grass barefoot and read a book or like, whatever it is you've got to do.
It's been shitty in New Jersey, but every time I'm like, when it's cloudy, the sun comes up, like, oh, let's go outside.
Even if the sun pops out for like 10 minutes, we're like, let's go outside real quick, sit in the backyard with the dogs, and we do like any 10 minutes that we can, and we squeeze it in, just because. You need to. You really, really need to.
So hopefully people are, you know, listening, and people are actually going to take, you know, our advice. And mostly, I hope we're able to change your perspective to really change how you see, you know, just taking care of yourself just by simply being in nature and how much it can actually help you. So I guess there's no questions. So thank you so much, Felicity. We definitely appreciate you taking the time.
It's been a while. I haven't seen you in forever.
You know, I love you guys. I'm always down.
Yeah, we got each other after the after the quarantine. We'll see each other.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you for everyone watching. I guess tune in next week. We'll be on Wednesday again, 4 p.m. Every Wednesday. And hopefully we keep just helping people. And please donate to startday1.org just to help us basically help reach more people. And that's basically what we're trying to do is trying to change people's perspective before they even reach mental illness or whatever else. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye, guys.